A blind musician gave his last coin to a lost child the next morning. He found her praying by his mother's memorial. The story opens on a dimly lit street corner where we see a man in his late 30s named Elias. Elias is a blind musician sitting on a low, worn wooden stool with a battered guitar resting on his knee. He's familiar with the darkness surrounding him, yet the night air hums with the faint glow of distant city lights, adding an ethereal touch to his world. His fingers hover over the guitar strings, and with each gentle strum, the music seems to float into the night like a bittersweet whisper. He plays with a touch so precise, so heartfelt, that anyone passing by would sense the deep well of emotions behind each note. Elias wasn't always a blind street musician. Once, he was a promising young pianist with dreams that soared beyond the clouds, aspirations to perform in grand concert halls. His life had been filled with music, his family, and the boundless potential of his youth. But all of that changed on a rainy night years ago when a tragic accident not only claimed his sight, but also took his mother from him, the one person who had supported him unconditionally. This loss shattered Elias, leaving him adrift in darkness, physically and emotionally. In an attempt to find solace, he moved to the streets, where he now plays his guitar, a gift from his mother that he treasures as his last connection to her. Though blind, Elias is perceptive, and his senses seem heightened as if he sees through the music itself. He is gentle, but withdrawn, wary of opening up to others due to the walls he's built to protect himself. He navigates life with a quiet resilience, relying on routine and his acute sense of sound to help him feel grounded. Elias believes his life will never rise beyond this nightly vigil, strumming tunes that echo both his sorrow and unfulfilled dreams. While he often smiles at passersby out of habit, he seldom speaks, keeping his thoughts and memories close to his heart. Despite his stoic exterior, Elias carries a spark of ambition, though he tries to bury it beneath a veil of pragmatism. He dreams of returning to the piano, of finding a way to let his music reach people in a way that transcends his current limitations. Yet, he's haunted by self-doubt and the painful belief that his dream of performing on stage is lost forever. As elusive as his mother's voice in his memory, Elias struggles with a deep-seated loneliness, a longing to be understood, but an unwillingness to ask for help. His pride often prevents him from accepting the kindness of others, though he's fiercely empathetic and quick to offer comfort to those in need. He harbors guilt, feeling responsible for the accident that took his mother's life and his sight, a burden that weighs heavily on his heart. His music serves as his only form of therapy, a way to express what he cannot voice. In his darkest moments, he questions if he even deserves happiness or a chance at a better life, resigning himself to a life of solitude. On this particular night, as Elias strums his guitar, he finds himself wondering about the life he could have had, the performances, the applause, the friendships. He's haunted by the ghost of who he was supposed to be, a vision he's certain he'll never reach. Yet, as his fingers move over the strings, his music fills the empty street with a sense of warmth and longing, like a quiet conversation between him and the world he's detached from. It's a cold night, and Elias's fingers are numb as he strums the last melancholy notes of his song. He sits quietly, letting the music linger in the air before the inevitable silence of the city at night swallows it whole. Just as he's about to pack up and head home, he hears light footsteps, a soft, tentative shuffle approaching from the side. Though he cannot see, his ears have been trained by years on the streets, and he senses something unusual. A faint sniffle cuts through the night, and Elias realizes it's the sound of a child crying, curious and concerned. Elias shifts in his seat and tilts his head toward the sound. "Hello," he calls out, his voice gentle but slightly cracked from disuse. The sniffles stop, and there's a moment of silence before a small, trembling voice answers. I'm lost." The child's voice is barely a whisper, tinged with fear and sadness, and it tugs at something deep within Elias. He recognizes the desperation in her tone, a feeling he knows too well. The feeling of being alone in a world that seems too big and too cruel. For a moment, Elias hesitates. He is not accustomed to involving himself in the problems of others, let alone a child. Yet, he feels an unexplainable pull, a nudge from somewhere deep within him. Without sight, He's painfully aware of his limitations. He doesn't know what the child looks like, where she came from, or how to help her find her way back. The safest thing to do would be to send her off to find someone else. But something stops him. A fleeting memory of his mother's voice telling him to always be kind, to never leave anyone alone in the dark. He gently pats the ground beside him and says, "Come here, little one. I may not be able to see, but I'll stay with you until you're not afraid anymore." There's a long pause, and then he hears small footsteps again. She sits beside him, and he can feel the warmth of her presence as she huddles close to his side. As they sit in silence, Elias slowly reaches into his pocket, feeling the smooth edges of the few coins he's earned from his night of playing. It isn't much, barely enough to get him through until morning, but it's all he has. He fishes out the largest coin, turning it over in his hand. He holds it out to the child, saying softly, "Here, this is for you. You'll need it more than I do." The child hesitates, but he presses the coin into her small, cold hand. This simple act feels monumental for Elias, a man who's used to keeping every small possession close. The coin, though nearly worthless, represents his willingness to open himself up, to give even when he has almost nothing. His mother had always taught him that true wealth was in the heart, and for the first time in years, he feels a faint glimmer of the kindness she instilled in him. After a few moments, the child stands up. "Thank you," she whispers, her voice filled with a new warmth. Elias listens to her footsteps fade into the distance, a strange emptiness left in her absence. He knows he may never see or hear from her again, but he hopes his small gesture will stay with her. Before he packs up for the night, Elias takes a moment to say a silent prayer, a habit he's kept since his mother's passing. He hopes the child finds her way, and that maybe, just maybe, he's given her a small piece of comfort to hold on to. As he finally leaves, Elias can't shake the memory of the child's voice. Her vulnerability has awakened something in him, an ache that goes beyond his own loneliness. He feels a growing need to help in some small way, to bring a touch of light to those around him. That night, for the first time in years, he feels a flicker of purpose, a reason to keep moving forward, even if it's only to ensure that no one else feels as lost as he once did. Elias returns to his usual corner the following morning, feeling unsettled but curious. He wonders if the child found her way home safely, or if their brief encounter will remain a small, inconsequential moment in her life. But as he settles down to play, he hears a soft murmur, faint whispers that sound like someone in prayer. Following the sound, he reaches out, his fingers brushing the cool metal of a memorial plaque nestled against a nearby tree. His fingers tremble as he realizes it's the memorial for his mother, a place he hasn't visited in months, too pained by memories to approach. Kneeling before the plaque, he hears the child's voice again. It's her, whispering a heartfelt prayer, asking for strength, comfort, and guidance. She prays for Elias too, hoping he finds happiness and peace. Shocked and deeply moved, Elias feels an unexpected surge of emotion, a sense of connection and purpose, as if his mother is sending him a message through this child. The moment is broken when she senses his presence and stands up, surprised but shyly smiling. Elias and the child are soon joined by another figure, Mia, a local shopkeeper and widow in her mid-50s who has taken an interest in Elias over the years, often offering him warm tea and gentle conversation. Mia has an almost motherly presence, and her compassion toward Elias has been a quiet but steady comfort, though he's always kept her at arm's length. When she sees Elias with the child, she's visibly touched, offering both of them pastries and warmth from her portable tea flask. Mia introduces herself to the child, whose name is revealed to be Sophia. Elias is hesitant, worried about bonding with anyone, but he is drawn to Sophia's earnest nature and Mia's kind encouragement. Mia's caring presence nudges Elias out of his shell, inviting him to a small community event she's organizing. Though Elias resists at first, Mia's insistence stirs a part of him that yearns for connection, and he agrees to attend. His curiosity piqued, at the community event, Elias meets several new characters, each with unique personalities that challenge him to open up. Among them is Ben, a young man who teaches music to local children. Ben is brash and passionate, his words often cutting but laced with sincerity. He recognizes Elias's talent immediately, even without seeing him play. He challenges Elias to join his community music class, claiming that Elias's guitar skills could bring something special to the kids. Despite his reservations, Elias feels something stir in him, a long-lost dream to inspire others through his music. But he's afraid, hesitant to trust or open himself up to new people, let alone young children who remind him of the future he's lost. The dynamic between Elias and Ben is tense but filled with promise, an opportunity for Elias to break free from his isolation and find new purpose. One evening, as Elias is packing up, Sophia appears again. She tugs on his sleeve and hesitantly reveals a small but significant detail about herself. She's been separated from her family. With tear-filled eyes, she asks Elias to help her find them. Her vulnerability tugs at his heart, reminding him of his own loss and the fragility of human connection. Elias is torn. He wants to help, but he's afraid of becoming too attached. Yet Sophia's earnest trust in him is something he can't ignore. And he agrees, setting off a chain of events that will change both of their lives. As Elias becomes more involved in Sophia's search, he unexpectedly encounters an old friend, Thomas, from his days as a pianist. Thomas is surprised to see Elias living as a street musician and initially feels pity for him. Though Elias resents this, their reunion stirs up unresolved feelings about the accident and his mother's passing. Thomas suggests they reconnect over a drink, hinting at his connections in the music world and how he could help Elias get back on his feet. This encounter challenges Elias in unexpected ways as he wrestles with feelings of inadequacy and fear of being judged. But Thomas's reappearance also brings hope, a faint possibility that he could reignite his music career, a chance he thought he'd lost forever. Through bits of conversation, Elias learns that Sophia may have run away from a troubled family situation, hinting at a backstory filled with hardship and neglect. This revelation shocks Elias, who starts piecing together clues about Sophia's life. His protective instincts grow stronger, and he begins to feel a responsibility he hasn't felt since losing his mother. As Elias delves deeper into Sophia's mystery, Mia and Ben join him, forming an unlikely team bound by compassion and a desire to help. Yet each attempt to find Sophia's family uncovers only more questions, pushing Elias further into unfamiliar emotional territory. With each discovery, Sophia's story grows more complex, pulling him into a mission that challenges everything he thought he knew about himself and his purpose. In the days following their community event and their collective efforts to find Sophia's family, Elias's connection with Sophia deepens. They share moments of laughter, stories, and even music, with Elias teaching her simple melodies on his guitar. For Elias, this friendship brings warmth into his life that he hasn't felt in years, a reminder of the joy he once shared with his mother. As he grows closer to Sophia, he begins to see himself as her protector, feeling responsible for her safety and happiness. This bond stirs a new sense of purpose within him, something he's been missing since his accident. But Elias's growing attachment is not without its challenges. His old fears of loss and inadequacy resurface as he wonders whether he's truly capable of protecting her or if he'll ultimately let her down. Despite these doubts, he is determined to keep Sophia close, fearing what her life might be like if she's left alone in the world. One evening, Mia approaches Elias with a concerned look, saying she's discovered something unsettling about Sophia's background. After a difficult search, Mia managed to track down information about Sophia's family. She hands Elias a newspaper article about a tragic incident that happened a few years ago. Sophia's mother had gone missing under mysterious circumstances, leaving her father to raise her alone. What shocked Mia most was that Sophia's father, it turned out, was someone known in the community for his volatile temper. Rumors swirled that he was involved in criminal activity, and neighbors had often reported loud arguments and disturbances in their home. Elias's heart sinks. He realizes Sophia has been carrying a much heavier burden than he ever imagined. The truth about her life challenges everything he thought he knew about her. She's not just a lost child, but one who might be running from a troubled and dangerous past. This revelation tears at his heart. He wants to protect her, but he's suddenly gripped with fear. If her father is dangerous, trying to keep her safe may put them both at risk. Just as Elias is processing this information, Sophia appears at his usual spot, looking more anxious than usual. She tells him that she saw someone following her that morning, a man who looked familiar, but whom she hadn't seen in a long time. Her hands shake as she recounts the details, and Elias can feel the fear radiating from her. He tries to reassure her, but his own unease grows. Is this man her father? If so, does he know where she's been hiding? And what could he want from her? Elias's mind races, torn between wanting to protect her and fearing what might happen if her father finds them. He tries to hide his own panic, offering her words of comfort, but inside he's wrestling with a difficult decision. He knows the safest thing would be to send her away, to keep his distance and let her go. But a part of him refuses to abandon her, not when she needs him most. The situation takes an unexpected turn when Ben approaches Elias, sensing his inner turmoil. Having grown fond of both Elias and Sophia, Ben proposes a solution. He offers to take Sophia in temporarily, providing a safe space until they can figure out her situation. He explains that his sister has a shelter for children, and she could help Sophia with resources and protection. It's a logical, safer solution, but Elias is hesitant. The idea of parting with Sophia feels unbearable, as if he'd be abandoning a piece of himself. He's caught between protecting her through separation and risking both their lives by keeping her close. Ben's offer forces Elias to confront his own fears and insecurities. He realizes he's projecting his grief onto Sophia, clinging to her as a way of holding on to his mother's memory. Parting with Sophia would mean facing his own loneliness, something he's been avoiding for years. This inner conflict reaches a fever pitch, leaving Elias paralyzed between his desire to keep Sophia safe and his fear of facing his own pain alone. The next evening, while contemplating Ben's offer, Elias finds Sophia waiting for him at his usual spot, clutching the coin he'd given her on that first night. She confides in him that she doesn't want to leave, that being with him feels like the first time she's felt truly safe in years. Her words strike Elias deeply, filling him with a mixture of pride and fear. He realizes that Sophia sees him as more than just a kind stranger. She sees him as family. As they talk, he feels a sense of purpose and love he hasn't felt in years, a feeling he's terrified of losing. The decision weighs heavily on him. He could send her away with Ben, ensuring her safety, but it would also mean letting go of the one thing that has brought him back to life. Or he could keep her close, risking everything, but also giving himself a chance to reclaim the love and connection he thought he'd lost forever. Just as Elias is about to make his decision, a figure approaches them, a man who introduces himself as Sophia's uncle. His appearance is unassuming, almost gentle, but there's an edge to his voice that makes Elias's skin crawl. The man claims he's been looking for Sophia, that her family has been worried sick, and insists on taking her home. But when Sophia grabs onto Elias's arm, her eyes wide with terror, Elias realizes something isn't right. In a tense exchange, Elias challenges the man, demanding proof of his identity. The man becomes defensive, his mask slipping as he accuses Elias of kidnapping Sophia. The argument escalates, drawing the attention of passersby, who are torn between intervening and keeping their distance. Elias feels a rising panic, realizing he's running out of options. He doesn't want to put Sophia in danger, but he knows he has no legal authority to keep her with him. In a moment of desperation, Elias makes a split-second decision. He tells the man he'll let Sophia go, but only if she agrees. Taking Sophia aside, he gently explains that he can't fight her battles for her, that she has to make the choice. His heart breaks as he watches the conflict in her eyes, knowing that whatever she decides, his life will change forever. Sophia looks back at him, tears streaming down her face, and quietly asks, "Will you find me if I need help?" The question slices through him like a knife, and with a heavy heart, he promises he'll always be there for her, no matter what. She finally nods, reluctantly agreeing to go with the man, though every fiber of her being seems to resist. Elias watches as they walk away, his heart shattered yet filled with a bittersweet sense of purpose. He knows he's done what's best for her, even if it means letting go of the only family he's found in years. Just as Elias is about to leave, Mia appears, her face filled with urgency. She hands him a crumpled piece of paper she found near his spot. It's a missing person flyer with Sophia's picture on it, along with a phone number and a plea for her safe return. But the name and address don't match anything Sophia or her supposed uncle had told them. The realization dawns on Elias, and a cold chill runs down his spine. Sophia may have been in greater danger than they ever knew. After discovering the truth about Sophia's supposed uncle, a fire ignites in Elias's heart. He can't allow her to slip back into the hands of someone who doesn't have her best interests at heart. The flyer Mia gave him shows an address and a contact number for the real authorities who have been searching for Sophia, confirming his worst fears. This revelation is both heart-wrenching and a call to action. It becomes clear that finding Sophia and helping her escape this shadow of danger is no longer just an act of kindness, but a mission that aligns with the deep sense of purpose he's uncovered within himself. Elias contacts Ben, explaining what he's learned, and together, they develop a plan. Knowing the uncle would likely take Sophia out of town, they call in every resource, from friends at the shelter to acquaintances who may have seen her. Driven by a sense of justice and love, Elias fights through every obstacle, his blindness no longer feeling like a hindrance, but a challenge he's determined to overcome. After days of intense searching, and with the help of Mia and Ben, Elias finally receives a lead from a passerby who had seen Sophia in a small, rundown building just outside of town. Without hesitation, he and Ben drive there, and with the assistance of local authorities, they manage to rescue her. Elias finds Sophia alone in a dark room, her face tear-stained and frightened. But when she hears his voice, her eyes light up with hope. In that moment, Elias realizes just how much he means to her. She runs to him, clinging to his arm, and he whispers softly, "I told you, didn't I? I'd always be here if you needed me." For Elias, this reunion is transformative. It isn't just about keeping a promise to Sophia, but about reaffirming a promise he's made to himself to live fully, embrace love, and never abandon those he cares about. Despite the pain of his past, over the following weeks, Elias works tirelessly to ensure that Sophia has the safe and loving environment she deserves. Ben, who has also grown deeply attached to Sophia, offers her a permanent place in his sister's shelter, giving her access to education, therapy, and a supportive community. With each day, Sophia begins to heal, gradually stepping out of the shadows of her past. Her laughter returns, and she even starts learning the guitar under Elias's guidance, finding joy and expression in music, much like her mentor. In watching her transformation, Elias finds himself healing too. He realizes that Sophia's resilience has rekindled his own belief in life and love. For the first time in years, he feels that his music, his presence, and even his blindness are not barriers, but unique aspects of his identity that allow him to connect with others in a profound way. Through Sophia, he discovers that his own journey isn't just about surviving loss, but about embracing the connections he can still build, the lives he can still touch, and the love he can still feel. To honor this journey and the memory of his mother, Elias decides to host a small, intimate concert at the community center where he used to perform. Word spreads throughout the neighborhood, and people from all around gather to hear him play once more. The atmosphere is alive with anticipation, with a palpable warmth that fills the air. Sophia, now confident and radiant, sits in the front row, beaming with pride and love for her friend and mentor. As Elias plays, his fingers glide over the strings with a newfound confidence and passion. His music tells a story, a tale of loss, resilience, and redemption that resonates deeply with everyone present. He dedicates the final song to his mother and Sophia, expressing gratitude for the love they've brought into his life and for the strength he's found in his struggle. The crowd listens in rapt silence, moved by the raw emotion that fills the room. When he finishes, a wave of applause echoes through the hall. And in that moment, Elias feels a profound sense of fulfillment, as though he's finally come home to himself. As the concert concludes, Elias speaks to the crowd with heartfelt sincerity. Sometimes, life takes away the people we love, the things we cherish, or even the abilities we once thought defined us. But maybe that loss doesn't mean the end. Sometimes, it's the beginning of something even more beautiful, something we couldn't have seen before. His words hang in the air, resonating deeply with everyone present. He looks towards Sophia, feeling a mix of pride and hope as he realizes that this journey has transformed them both. With Sophia by his side, Elias's life takes on new meaning, a purpose driven not by fame or recognition, but by love, compassion, and the joy of shared humanity. This realization brings him peace and clarity, a sense of closure, not only for the pain of losing his mother, but also for the isolation he once felt in his blindness. He now knows he is complete, whole, and capable of living a life filled with purpose and connection. With this emotional journey completed, Elias closes the story by addressing the audience. To anyone out there who feels like life has taken too much from you, know that there's always something more waiting. It may be hidden, it may seem far off, but the people and moments that shape us often come when we least expect them. Hold on and trust that you'll find your way. As the story draws to a close, Elias's journey resonates with a universal truth. Sometimes, the simplest acts of kindness can change lives, even when we least expect it. In his darkest moments, Elias found light through Sophia, and in helping her, he also healed parts of himself. He reminded us all that even in our most vulnerable states, our struggles can lead us to strength, resilience, and purpose. Now, for anyone who feels alone or weighed down by life's challenges, remember that healing often comes in unexpected forms. Sometimes it's in the hand of a friend or a stranger who reaches out, and sometimes it's in the act of reaching out to someone else. Just as Elias discovered, love and purpose can transform even the deepest pain into something beautiful and meaningful. If this story touched your heart or reminded you of someone who could use a little hope today, please take a moment to share it. You never know how one story, one act of kindness, or one moment of connection can lift someone else's spirits. If Elias's journey resonated with you, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Share a moment in your life when a small gesture made a big difference, or tell us how you stay hopeful in difficult times. Your stories and reflections mean a lot to us, and they help build a community where people can feel seen, heard, and understood. Before you go, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. If you'd like to hear more stories like this one, stories that touch the heart, inspire change, and remind us of the power of kindness. Thank you for being part of this journey, and may we all find strength, purpose, and connection, even in life's most challenging chapters. Thank you for watching, and remember, every moment has the potential to transform. Keep your heart open, keep moving forward, and keep believing in the power of love and kindness.